Three, two, one. Hello and welcome to another episode of Feeding Fatty. This is Roy.
This is Terry.
So we are talking about this podcast consists of chronicling our journey through wellness. And, you know, in the beginning, we started out with more of what we ate, our diet, not a diet, but our diet. And we've kind of moved, you know, into exercise. And now we've really focused a lot on mindset, because making any sustainable changes, you know, it just has to begin in our mind before we can really achieve it over long periods of time. And that's one thing, you know, we talk about, we struggle with. We can do most anything for a month, 2 months, 3 months, but, you know, we need to do things and put it together for many, many years to come. So anyway, from what we do is we have guests on periodically, experts in the field. And then we also do, you know, some of our updates as well when those are needed. But today's no different. We have an awesome guest, Cathy, and I'm going to let Terry introduce her.
Hi, Cathy. Cathy Nesbitt is a health and wellness advocate. She's the founder of Cathy's Crawly Composters, Cathy's Sprouters, and Cathy's Laughter Club. She is a certified laughter yoga teacher, appointed laughter ambassador, and since 2015, Cathy's been leading laughter sessions at assisted living facilities, summer camps, and other venues.
Oh my gosh.
She shares her energy, passion, generosity, and vast professional experience to help you take advantage of the natural health benefits of laughter yoga. She is a worm advocate and founder of the Cathy Crawly Composters, which I mentioned earlier. This environmental business specializes in vermicomposting. I've been practicing that word. Laughter Wellness is the latest offering. Cathy, welcome to the show. I just butchered all of it. I was trying to read from everywhere because you have so many things going on, but I wanted to get the vermicomposting. How are you doing today?
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited to be on your podcast. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. I also wanted to mention you're a multi-award winning environmental innovator. I love that. Tell us about
what a nice bio that I wrote.
Yeah. Well, you did. And then I kind of picked it out here. So how did you get started with, start wherever you want to. You want to start with the worms?
Let's just start. Let me tell you what my working title is.
Okay, good. Yeah, please.
My working title is Cathy Crawly Laughing Bean Queen. So it encompasses all of that you just offered, right? Worms for amending the soil, sprouts for eating, and laughter for overall health and wellness. So I started my worm enterprise back in 2002. And just quickly to get into how that happened, I'm located in Canada, just north of Toronto. Largest city in the country. Our landfill closed in 2002. You're sitting down, I see you are.
Yeah.
We started shipping garbage to Michigan from Canada.
Oh, wow.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Thank
right?
you.
Right? I know, not my fault, not me, the government. My government and your government, by the way.
Yeah. No.
They did a deal, right? They made a business arrangement. So shame on us as Canadians for shipping our garbage out of the country. Almost 200 garbage trucks every day from the Toronto to Michigan. Like, wow, thank you. Wow, it's shocking. 1,000 trucks a week, like, holy, what are we thinking as people? So shame on us for shipping our garbage out of the country, but double shame on the Americans for accepting our garbage for cash. Like, what? Who would, let's take the Canadian garbage because they got to get rid of it. We're only the second largest country in the world.
We'll take money anywhere, apparently.
I was just going to say, it's not like we don't have enough of our own garbage that we can't deal with.
Anyway, enough of that. Like that's the shameful part. That's the part, that's the base. That's what gave me my driver. That's why I'm like, that is what is happening. And as an avid gardener and composter, I knew that I had a solution, an indoor solution. In Canada, we have winter. People don't want to compost outside in the winter. So this is indoor composting, worms in the house. So in hot places like Texas,
yes, it is.
Right? Outdoor composting can be a challenge. because it gets too hot, it dries out, right? So indoors, the perfect solution, if you live in cottage country and you have bears or cougars or some kind of wildlife, you don't want to compost outside, sending your, okay, kids, go put the stuff in the composter. You might be taking your life in your hands. So this is a solution for everywhere. So back to Toronto. So 6 million people in the greater Toronto area, half living in condos, townhouses without space for outdoor composting. So they don't even have a solution. And yeah, so in came the worms, and I started my worm enterprise, like a whole series of things lined up for me to start my business in 2002. And by the way, that's the same year I started sprouting. So not everybody knew about worm composting. They still don't 19 years in. I'm doing my best. Yeah, so in 2002, my very first exhibit, I was exhibiting, at some kind of a trade show. There was a gentleman selling this sprouter that I sent you, and it was flying off the shelf. It looks like a spaceship, right?
Yes.
And so I was like, why is everyone buying that thing and they're not buying my worms? Like, I really believed that I had a solution and everybody needed what I had, but they didn't want what I had. They needed it, but they didn't want it.
Hard thing.
Well, it just is, right? So there I was. I'm like, oh, I have a solution. I got this. Okay, I've got this garbage crisis solved. Yeah, come on. And then it's like, oh, well, all the naysayers like, oh, what if the worms get out? Is there smell? Da-da-do, worms, And then I was like, oh, anyway, so back to Tony. So back to this sprout grower. So I said to him, hey, how come everyone's buying that? What is that thing? I didn't know anything about sprouts or sprouting. And he told me all the magic about sprouts, and I'll get into that in a moment. But so I was like, 2002 was a huge year in my life. And I hope that people that are listening realize when you hear something that pings in your heart, you're like, oh, what's that? There's a message for you. There's something there for you. So I was like, oh, this guy is 72 at the time. He's 92 now. 92, still living on his own, still in the business, still like super healthy. Okay, enough about him. It's all about me. So 72, ballroom dancer. So like super healthy, like still working, 72, still working those shows. It's hard work.
Yeah.
Like going out there, standing in front of the public, right? Like, and people always want a deal, and it's not easy being an entrepreneur. And I was like, wow, okay. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. So he said, if you're going to do this, start your day with 2 tablespoons of the sprouted mung beans. Here they are. I have a container here. Yummy. Yay. Start your day with 2 tablespoons every day for the enzymes. I know we're all over the place. I hope this is okay.
Kind of how we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I started my worm business and started eating sprouts, which has been my health plan. I didn't know, but I didn't even know that I would have a business. When I worked, I would change jobs every year because I got bored. I didn't know I was an entrepreneur. I didn't have any entrepreneurs in my family. I just was like, I was a secretary, and I was a great secretary because I was chatty and I connected everybody, and I thought that was my lot in life. So I was good at it. But I got bored. So I needed to always I was always just looking for the next job to conquer.
I can relate to that. Oh my gosh. I've done that too. I have had every kind of job you can imagine. And it's crazy.
It's experience.
It is experience, and nothing's a failure. Everything's a lesson, right?
Yeah, whatever jobs that people have where it's like, oh, that's I don't even want to say a job, because all jobs are meaningful and serve a purpose at the time. And it really gives you a good training ground, even if you're like, oh, my boss is so mean. Good. If you're ever a boss, don't be mean.
Right.
Right. Oh my gosh. Cathy Crawly, Laffy Bean Queen. I love that. Okay, let's talk about, I want to go back to that too, but we are bouncing. I want to talk about the laughter, laughter. How important is laughter in life?
Oh, during this cuckoo time, more important than ever, really more important than ever. And the laughter, how I came to the laughter. So I talked about how I got to worms and sprouts,
Yep.
how the laughter came about. So here I am merrily going about wanting to put worms in every living space. I can do it. I got it. You know, it's important. People need what I have. So of course, they'll eventually find that out. They'll figure it out. They're still not, but okay.
We have to help them, assist them.
You know, yeah, so about 10 years in, I think it was about 2012, like one more person said, ew, worms in the house. So I was like, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to put worms everywhere if people are still saying, ew? And I was just thinking, maybe I should just get a job. Like, it would be easier, right? Like, why am I trying to save the world? Why? Why am I doing this? Why am I carrying, like, I'm the one that put this big mission on my shoulders. I could take it off too. Like, okay, worms, no longer.
Right.
But I know that it's really important. So anyway, I was at a business meeting and the first speaker introduced laughter yoga, and I don't even do yoga. I don't do yoga, but I was like, laughter yoga, I love laughing. So I was intrigued. And then I was at a business networking event that same week, and there was hundreds of people there. The very first woman I met was a laughter yoga teacher.
Oh, well, okay. There you go. There's your sign.
There's your sign, right? So I listen to those things. You know, I'm 58 now. So after decades of not listening, you listen.
Right.
I'm getting there. I'm almost.
So I was like, wow. I said to her, oh, laughter yoga is mainstream, because I heard about it twice in 1 week. So, you know, somehow these messages come to me sooner than other people, or I hear them before other people. I don't know what it is, but the worms, you know, sprouts, laughter, all these things are here. I didn't invent any of them. I'm just marketing them better than anybody else. I'm the messenger.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I love this. And then that woman happened to have, Toronto's a huge city.
Yeah.
She happened to have a laughter yoga club, a laughter club in the same neighborhood where my mother-in-law lived. And I love my mother-in-law. She just passed. But no, it's fine, because I came to her laughter yoga because of her. So now when I do laughter yoga, she's there with me. So don't be sad for me. So I was like, wow, hey, Mary, you want to go to this thing? And she trusted me, like, even though I do these cuckoo things, she always trusted me, right? She was like, I don't know where I'm going to go. Whenever Cathy asked me to do something, I go, because it's always going to be different. Yippee! So I said, hey, Mary, you want to go to laughter yoga? She's like, what's that? And I said, I don't know. Let's go check it out. So we went for dinner, and she said, we better not have garlic. I said, that's their problem. So we went, had dinner, went to laughter yoga. It was weird. Like, it is an awkward, you came to my club, Terry. Like, it's kind of an awkward thing, like laughing. It's not jokes or comedy or anything. It's like, huh. But once you do it and you actually allow yourself permission, and I will talk about it in a moment. So we went, we had fun, and then, you know, you sleep well. So we would go every month. It was once a month only, not enough, but once a month. And then the club kept getting smaller and smaller. And in Toronto, it was at one of the busiest corners, like Condoville everywhere. So tens of thousands of people at that corner. They just didn't know. They didn't know there was this laughing club. They didn't know. So she had to close her club because she rented space and she wasn't making money, right? I mean, she's not a charity.
Right.
So she closed her club. I got sad. I was like, okay, I need to do this. I got trained as a leader. I loved it so much. I got trained as a teacher. And now during this cuckoo time, I'm being called to do it. So I'm doing laughter yoga. I'm getting paid gigs. My laughter yoga my income has almost replaced my worm income.
Wow.
Because we need it. We have this mental health tsunami. It was here before. It's just being visible now. Now the people that are really struggling are struggling even more now because they're just on their own. They can't they can't see anyone
And I think as we come out of this, it seems to be more amplified here, that there's just a lot more, bad acting of things. And anyway, I think we had some help and support through this. And then as we come out of it, it's just going to really amplify it even more. So I think it's timely. And the other part I didn't know when you're doing the introduction, I kind of went, oh, wow, is delivering that into assisted living. I mean, what a great what a great thing that, you know, they
Oh,
need
yes.
that laughter, because, you know, I'll just tell our personal story right quick that, Terry signed up for one of your, I don't know if you call them sessions or
Class.
class. So she signed up for a class, and, you know, I was over on the other side of the room working, but I heard her start kind of laughing and being a little hysterical. And so I kind of, you know, started paying more attention and just hearing the laughter. And it just made me start laughing, even though I wasn't participating. But I think the biggest thing that has come out of this is, as we're out in life and, you know, something happens, is like, you know, I'm probably a little more wound tighter than Terry. So I'm the first one to be like, you know, and she can see my blood pressure. Yeah, exactly.
Steam coming out of his ears, his collar, all that.
Yeah. So she can recognize it, and then she will just bust out into laughter. And, and then it makes me start laughing. And then you forget about whatever it was. And so it's an awesome therapy to use with other people, you know, around you in your life, to kind of, to break that.
Oh, thank you for sharing. It's a magic potion that, you know, laughter actually was squished out of us by the ancient Greeks, because when people are laughing and they're connecting and they're just like having so much fun, you can't control them.
Interesting.
Right? So don't laugh in church, don't laugh in school. What are you kids laughing at? Like, what are you doing? They're just laughing. They're just like laughing. That's it. Let them be. Join them.
Yeah.
And it was something that I mean, I didn't even know that I needed it, Cathy. I really didn't. And I was a little apprehensive. I mean, I don't do yoga. I mean, I do a little, but not that, you know, not like a whole class or anything like that. And I'm like, okay, laughter. I love laughter, but the yoga part, maybe I should. And then when I came on, I was just like, okay, these guys are kind of kooky. Everybody's laughing. There's nothing. They're not laughing for a reason in particular, except for it's contagious. It's just contagious. Yeah. And it really did bring me a lot of energy. So every morning after, probably for the whole week after, I just, you know, in the morning, I would just go, you know, and Roy and I would just start going and did not stop for a few minutes, you know, and just periodically throughout the day. And I mean, that laughter just really does bring you a lot of energy. And there's an acronym DOSE. What does that stand for, that laughter brings?
Yes, laughter is the best medicine. We've all heard it. And I say, have you had your daily dose? Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, the love drugs, versus when we're stressed, we're not breathing properly, and we're secreting cortisol. You know, we need a little bit of cortisol to get us off our butts, but we're in a really stressful time. And North America is even more tightly wound, to use your word, Roy, than other places. Like we only get 2 weeks holiday.
Yeah, even that, I mean, you have to work up to that, right?
Well, and there's so many people that just give it back because, I mean, I think it's, we're in a position people feel like they can't take off because they're going to lose traction, or, you know, their boss is going to say, well, you're not very dedicated, you're taking off, and I think you'd be surprised how many people give back their days every year, even that they have, not because it's like, I don't have anywhere to go, or, you know, because even staying at home, a staycation, still fun, but I think it's that pressure that we feel that we just can't do. A lot of people can't do it.
That we're replaceable. Everybody's
right.
Yeah.
What a way to live our life. That's right. That's living from fear, from scarcity, right? If we come from abundance, we really do need to rejuvenate.
Right.
Yeah.
Like we're important on, like, put your oxygen mask on first when you're flying. The flight attendants say it every time.
I think
I was a flight attendant. That was one.
You know, even as adults, being a parent, having kids, there's nothing more satisfying and peaceful than sitting out in the backyard and listening to your kids run and play and laugh, and, you know, just that, or going to a school and hearing the laughter. So, you know, why do we somehow we feel like we have to grow out of that as adults? I don't know. I don't think it's that we think it's not acceptable, but I guess because we are so wrapped up in so many other things. It's just one we forget to do.
It's so serious. We really are a serious society. It's just, you know, again, the competition, we got to do better. We got to do more, make more, be more.
Have more,
just
yeah.
like, yeah, have more, right? Instead of just like, I mean, even during this cuckoo time, how often does somebody ask you if you've taken your vitamins? Did you get outside for a walk? You know, did you connect with somebody today? Like, I'm just concerned that nobody's asking about our health.
Yeah.
They're just asking about our sickness.
Yeah. Well, and you know, more is sometimes the other saying is less is more, you know, and we've in the last few years, you know, we've made a conscious decision to downsize from the things that we had, you know, especially when we had kids around, it was a different life. But now it's like, we don't need all that stuff and things and, you know, barns full of things that we've accumulated but never use. And it's very liberating when we can break that cycle and just try to focus more on us instead of things.
Absolutely. You know, when we have a lot of stuff, then we need like barriers to keep our stuff safe. Right? Because somebody might take our stuff, or you know what I mean? Like then we're thinking about all of that stuff that we have. It's so liberating to doff your stuff.
Yeah. And that's the other thing is that the importance part of, you know, like I never locked my door until Terry came around, and she kind of was a little freaked out about it. But I'm like, there's really nothing in here that, you know, I would rather them take what they want and I don't have to replace the door, you know, because then it's like, you know, they break the door down and then take stuff. And then, but anyway, I just think it frees us up to really concentrate on us and our relationships. And, you know, and that I think that counts our relationship with ourself. We are usually the hardest on ourselves. Now I'll cut Terry a lot of slack, you know, don't worry about this, don't worry about that. But for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, and it's internalized, but it's like, man, I got a lot done yesterday, but there's like 5 more things that I should have done. And not celebrating, taking the time and physically celebrating what we did accomplish.
We're not taught to celebrate our small wins. We're really not. We are taught, write the list, and then you've got this list, but then you've got the list that you're always looking at. It's like you might have done those 2 things, but now there's still 12 more things to do. Like, oh, I'm still a failure. You know, it's just like on social media, you might post something and then like 50 people are like, woo, hey, right on, that's so great, or congratulations. And then one person's like, you suck. And you're like, oh, I suck. You know, like somehow that one person's able to burst our balloon. I don't know why.
Kill the joy. Yeah.
Well, and the other thing too is that sometimes even when we achieve success and we're on top, we can't enjoy it because it's like you're looking around like, who's going to knock me off of this, or how do I stay here? I can't slip back. And so it's just it's a perpetuating cycle of stress, to be honest.
Yeah.
This is put on by ourselves, though. This is all self-imposed.
Right.
And once we understand that it's self-imposed, this cuckoo time has allowed me, of course, like everybody, a lot of time to contemplate.
Right.
And contemplate some more.
Yes, for sure.
You know, but it really is about not comparing to anybody else. It doesn't even matter what everybody has. We don't even know their story. Like, it's like, oh, look at how successful they are. Who gives a crap? Are they happy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but do we really know? Because that's the joy of social media is we get to share a lot of stuff. But the other part of social media is we don't know what's behind the scenes. Like this new yacht that I'm standing in front of in my Instagram picture. It's not even mine. I mean, I'm walking down the harbor and got in front of and be like, hey, look at my new yacht I just bought, or, you know, go to the car dealership and stand by the new car. You know, we don't know. And like you said, the other bigger part is even if people have that stuff, are they really happy?
Yeah, who cares?
Right. And we have to stay in our own lane, run our own race. If, you know, we can try to get better every day and achieve those things, but it shouldn't be, you know, it's kind of like we focus on us and what are we going to do to be happy? What can we do for ourselves? Not selfishly, but healthily, I guess, health wise, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you say
Healthily?
it, but you know, like breathing, water, eating right, sleeping right, you know, try to do all of those things and really focus on that. And it, to me, it brings us so much happiness. You know, like yesterday we had a taping in the afternoon that canceled. And so, you know, I was like, oh, I go out in the backyard and trim some trees. I got this, I got, you know, a list a mile long, but I just had a thought and said, you know what, why don't we just get the dogs and go for a walk? And we went and walked over to this really beautiful place and, just made you know, a couple hours of it. And it was the very best thing, taking time for us.
It was nice.
Yeah, free time. All right.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, you never get that.
Yeah, right.
Ever.
Well, I'm a little more curious about the some of your results, not only from, you know, regular, what I'd say, middle-aged people or you know, younger people versus what have some of your results been taking this into assisted living?
Thank you. Thank you for bringing it back to assisted living. Yes, it's before my worm business, I was a social worker working with folks in assisted living.
Okay.
And I loved it. I had challenge with management, but
always,
you know, everyone's the expert. But when you're on the front line, you got to just do stuff. But anyway, okay. But I love that. When I left that, I was like, felt like a piece of my heart was being left there. So now I'm coming back home, and I'm very intuitively guided. I was walking in the forest and got a message that because before COVID, I was working with assisted living. And let me tell you this fabulous story, and then I'll get back to the forest walk. I hope so, if I remember.
I'll jot it down here.
So there was a few nonverbal folks, and on Laughter Day, you know, some of the folks were by the window, like little puppy dogs waiting. You know, they're so excited. Here she comes. Oh, it's so exciting, but they're not talking. And then we get into laughing. One of the activities is we blow up like a balloon. Like, so you have your hands like this and you breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. Then you have this big full balloon. And one of the nonverbal boys, young men, said, when we got here, he was like, bang. He said, bang. He doesn't talk.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. We were just like, right. His brain was fully oxygenated. He could verbalize. It was just like, wow. So anyway, that was a very positive experience. Awesome. Then COVID hit, and I was like, is this going to be able to, can I do laughter online? I don't know. Who knows, right? And it's been so successful. I'm doing work with Alzheimer's, a group that are early onset, 40s, 50s, 60s. And now we do it online, and we can reach people that couldn't come before. They didn't have access, or across Canada, people can come, or even into the States if you want to come. You know, it's so beautiful. So it does make access for more people. And then, so back to the forest. So I'm walking in the forest, and I was given this whole vision, and I still don't know, it's still forming. Like, I don't know how to do it, but it was given to me. Here it is. Here's what's coming. Okay. So I was doing laughter yoga. I was doing a training because I'm a teacher, teaching folks with special needs. And sorry if I don't want to offend anybody with the proper term, and specifically folks with Down syndrome. And I was actually training a friend's daughter, and I haven't met her daughter. I know of her, but I don't know the daughter. So I was like, that's funny, weird. I mean, I didn't know what to make of it, but I was training that group of folks with the intent for them to train or to lead laughter sessions for their demographic.
Okay. And
I was like, because in Canada, I think it's either 18 or 21, they are kicked out of school, like, thanks for stopping by. Then they could put on, it's a disability pension, and it's very small amount of money. You can't live on that amount of money, by the way. And if they work, the money is taken off their pension. So there's no incentive to work, but they don't want to work for the money. It's to be part of society.
Right.
Anyway, so that's my big goal. Anyway, so I phoned up this woman and I said I had this weird dream or vision or whatever I call it in the forest. I don't know what you're going to think of this, but I feel like I need to share it. So she connected me. Her daughter attends a group called FAN. It's Full Access Network. And it's a daily club for folks that are out of the school system, so young adults. And she hooked me up with this man who is so dedicated to these people. He just loves them so much and wants them to survive and thrive in life. And so when I told him my mission, he was like, wow, okay, let's do something. I don't know if it's going to work. So I said, let's do something for free. Let's see if they're going to like it. And they loved it so much. We're now in our 3rd month. Every Friday we get together. You know, now we're just introducing it. Like we're just teaching them laughter yoga right now. Like not talking about training anybody right now. Let's just see, anybody like it, getting benefits. The parents are loving it. Their kids are easier to get along with. They're not having flare-ups. I'm giving them tips on when you do get stressed, when you're just like, why don't they get me? Then I'm teaching them to just laugh and doing techniques like when we get stressed, the blood, lymph, oxygen leaves our brain. So these are the conductors, right? We are electricity. Putting your hand on your neural. Sometimes when we're stressed, right, we're like, how am I going to do all this stuff? Overwhelmed, right? Oh, there's so many things. Our neurovasculars are here. So when we put our hand, sometimes when people are thinking they do this, those are the neural, right? So you just automatically, so I teach them, you do this, you can close the loop, putting on your back of your head, and then you take deep breaths. And that calms you right down. I tell people to do that before they respond on social media too.
Interesting.
Like you're like, it's like, okay, calm down, because now you're in fight, flight, or freeze. Like you've gone into reptile mode. Get out of there, because that's not helpful. As soon as you press send, now you've opened up the floodgate for negativity. Right? If you're responding to something.
Right. I'll just say, if you think about it, really, laughter is a universal language. It's something everybody knows. And even like you said, if you're nonverbal, they can still probably laugh. And the other thing I was thinking about for, like the dementia is it's probably good for the caregivers to know as well, because when they, it's and Terry can speak to it more than I can, but I know that it's a very tedious, it can be very stressful at times. And so instead of letting that stress overwhelm you, is just laugh with the person that you're caring for.
Yeah, just let it out, because it does get, you just don't think about taking care of you, especially if you're a caregiver, and all of us are in some form or another. But if you're caregiving for a dementia patient or an Alzheimer's patient or a special needs child, you just don't take care of yourself. And it's so important that you do, because who's going to take care of that person if you're not around to do it? And you won't be if you don't take care of yourself.
Absolutely. Before COVID, I was actually going into long-term care. Now with, I'm not sure what's happening in the States, but in Canada, they're still not really allowing outdoor activities, really,
right.
Or like outdoor people coming in. But I was going in and they would say, how many people would you like? And they'd kind of wheel everybody in, or people would come in. So it was seated, unlike my classes and so one woman was wheeled in, and she was sleeping, like she was kind of like hunched over and she was kind of sleeping. It seemed like she was sleeping. Her worker stayed with her the whole time. And at one point, so we're, playing along, doing our thing. And at one point, the worker said, look at Ida, she's smiling. So she wasn't playing. She didn't, wake up at all. She didn't open her eyes, but at one point she was smiling. So it's like, maybe she was somehow receiving that beautiful laughter, energy. It's high vibration, right? When we're stressed, when we're afraid, when we're in a pandemic, we're just like worried about, we're afraid. And if we watch the news, we get more afraid. Like, so, just limit your intake of news is one way, but so that's not helpful when we're afraid. And by the way, we cannot heal when we're in stress mode, because we're in stress mode. We need to get so when we're in sympathetic mode, we're just again in fight, flight, or freeze. We need to get into parasympathetic, so we need to get into relaxation mode And that's the only time that we're healing. So even if we're stressed and we're still drinking the water, eating the good stuff, we're moving, exercising, we are still not doing our body any benefit. Not well, we're doing benefit, but not, our body's not going to receive the best benefit if we're in stress mode.
Yeah, definitely. And it's funny, I hate to keep harping on it, but I don't think, if you never do this, you don't understand the power of, when Terry starts laughing, I can't help but follow along. I mean, no matter what just happened, it's so infectious that you just can't not join in. And then when you do, it's like, I guess all this, like the dose that you were saying, everything that's released, it's like all of a sudden what you were worrying about, it's really not that important anymore. Now all of a sudden you're worrying about this crazy person laughing, makes you wonder what's going on
All
with
these
them.
nuts around you. Oh my
Exactly.
gosh. And Roy has an awesome, I mean, he is a full body laugher. I'm telling you, he just goes. And I feel like I'm like, sometimes it's in my head, sometimes it's in my diaphragm, sometimes it's my belly. When I get a good belly laugh, that's what's the most important right there. That's what really makes me feel high energy.
Yeah.
You want to know why? Here's why. Here's why. Like the more I learn about laughter, I mean, now I've been laughing full on since 2013. And, now the more and more. And so every day I really make sure I get a good belly laugh in. We have blood. So our heart pumps our blood. We have another fluid called lymphatic fluid. Mm-hmm. And lymph fluid only moves when we move. And we don't move very much, right? We're very sedentary people now. And so so we got to move our lymph, which is really great. I recently learned that our lymphatic fluid also moves when we do deep diaphragmatic breathing. It's kind of, our diaphragm's like a pump for our lymph. So yeah, so that's why. So when if we're feeling tired and depressed, if we're depressed, we're not taking up very much space, right? We're small, we're maybe holding ourselves, like we're just we're just small, we're just sad. And because our cells are depressed, we don't have enough oxygen in our body. So all we need to do, I mean, not all, you probably got to deal with whatever it is that caused you depression, but but if you, and not to laugh at that, I don't mean to laugh at that. But everything's funny.
I was gonna say with you.
But you just really got to open up. You got to open up and then just take up more space. Like, just be, I'm making, for if it's anyone listening just to the audio version, I'm opening up my whole body, and you got to jump around. Like if you have a rebounder, jump on that, or a trampoline, or you can even just pretend like you have one and just like bounce up and down. And then your body is having, right. We can live without food and water for a few days. Sorry, I get excited. You can live without food and water for a few days. You might be grumpy and uncomfortable. We can only live without oxygen for a few minutes. And laughter forces us, right? Ha, 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 ha. You can't just ha, ha. You're only expelling. You have to go,
yeah.
I'm going to pause.
He was waiting. I love it.
But I never really thought about it till you said that. But sometimes when you are in that stress, you are kind of hunched over and just tighter,
curling up.
Yeah, but when you do laugh, it kind of makes you throw your shoulders back, your chest puff out, and just like you said, take up more space.
Yeah.
Yeah, just take up more space, because then you're right. Then your cells are taking up more space. That's right. What we want.
I love that.
Yeah. No, I think this is awesome. And we need to, I just think we all need to, the other thing it does is it kind of gives us a break from taking ourselves and our life so serious for just about 5 minutes.
Yeah, you get so wrapped up in your own stuff and everybody else is around you that you just don't realize that you're not breathing and opening up. You're just curling back into your ball,
Well, and I used to have a sign on my desk that people would laugh about. I had 10 things, sweat for the day, learn something new, laugh, and then I had breathe. And people would say, oh, you got to remind yourself to breathe. And I'd be like, no, but I have to remind myself to breathe that deep breath in, because, I think a lot of us are very shallow breathers. And so getting that oxygen and getting it, that deep breath, into our full body, it's very important.
It's so important. It's so important, and just like any modality, as a laughter yoga teacher, I bring all kinds of things. I'm a learner. I love new experiences and trying new things, and whatever it is, I just like to try different things. And so during this time, I've done all kinds of energy work. And I've incorporated that into, not just this time, actually, since I've been doing, have you heard of tapping or emotional freedom technique?
Yes,
Yeah.
I have. I've kind of read a little bit about it, but I haven't gone deep.
I've been tapping since 1999. I'm so happy that it's
Wow.
mainstream. It's just like this simple thing. So I don't know when you attended my class if I did this, but there are 4 spots that we really ought to tap on every day. And it's here under your eyes, 2 fingers, just gently. This is your stomach meridian. This grounds you. So then you take a couple of deep breaths here. And then release. You can release with a sigh. Ha, that's what I do in my class. So that's your stomach. And then your collarbone. You can either rub here or you can tap. This is your kidneys. This is K27. You don't need to know this, but some people want to know stuff. So this is really good. And we're talking about lymph. Our lymph only goes in one direction, and then it ends up here. And this is the gateway, and then it dumps into our cardiovascular. Can you imagine? Not to get into the whole cycle of the lymph, that's really another whole topic. But if we don't open up this gateway, then our lymph will pool here. And this is not anything new, but most heart attacks happen Monday morning, about 9 o'clock in the morning. That's the cycle when the lymph is, and the lymph doesn't have a pump. So if it's blocked here, it's not able to go. So then the cardiovascular cycle buggers up. I know, right? So this is a really great one, and this gives you energy too. So just do that every day. If nothing else, do that. And the next one is, I'll just stand, is like on your thymus. So you know how apes do this? That they do that because that's your thymus. As we age, our thymus shrinks. And that's to make T cells. So anyone watching that has cancer, tap on your thymus. This is, and then deep breathe while you're tapping. And then the last one is about a palm width down from your armpit right on your ribs on both sides. That's your spleen. And so those 4 spots, really, really great every day. Attend my class and you'll remember, because I do that.
Oh my gosh. I can't tell anybody enough times that just go. It is an amazing experience.
Yeah. And again, I bring all those other healing modalities, the different things. I help people like how to sleep, how to get out of stress. Just as one example of one way that I've incorporated laughter yoga into my life, when I'm driving around, before when there was more traffic. And so I'm driving, and if somebody cuts me off, I've trained myself that when they cut me off, it's not like, oh, why did they cut me off? It's never personal, right? It's never personal, although we take it personal.
Right.
Right? So I'm like, oh, they cut me off. It cues me to do my laughter yoga. So I'm like, and
I love it.
And so the right, so the person thinks that I'm angry because I'm flailing around, and so they're looking at us. So I'm not kidding, I get extra space because they're like, that chick's cuckoo. And I arrive at my destination. I'm like, good, I feel great. I'm arrived. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready for my meeting.
Roy, I'm going to be waiting for you to do that next time. I give him hassle.
It changes everything. It changes everything. And it's not laughing at a negative situation. There's a documentary that I would encourage people to watch. It's called Laughology. And it's by Albert Nuremberg. Yeah, I think that's his name. Sorry, Albert, if I didn't say your last name right. He was doing this documentary, and he went to India to interview Dr. Madan, the founder of Laughter Yoga. It's the 26th anniversary. I don't think I said all this yet. So he went to interview him about laughter yoga, and it was the day after the Mumbai bombings.
Oh.
So he was like, oh, like, I guess we can't. And it was in Mumbai. They were going to be, so he's like, I guess we can't do it. So you'll see if you watch the documentary, and it's online. I think you can watch it online for free. You'll see the bombings are in the background, and Dr. Kataria was like, no, we have to do it. We have to do it because we need this right now. We're really stressed, and we need to bring a little bit of levity, even though it's not laughing at the bombings, it's laughing because of the bombings, so that they could heal from it.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Interesting. Yeah,
Oh my
it really
gosh.
is. And I don't think we, there's a lot of science on that. Like you said, holding that stress in from whether it's the bombings or a driver or bad service somewhere, that we hold that in, and it can make us, it can really advance illnesses that we have. It doesn't let us heal, like you said. And then it can actually cause us to be sick. I mean, a lot of people just carry so much stress around that they are just perpetually sick, more susceptible to, colds and viruses and things like that. So a lot of science behind this. Just we gotta laugh it off and get out of that stressful place that we're in. Nothing helps more than, and I'm blessed to have Terry in my life, because it's even better when you have somebody to laugh with, because sometimes we're not always aware that we really need it, or that we're going into that bad place where our partner can be like, hey, let's have a little laughter here. We got to break out of this for just a minute.
And to laugh at. I mean, me, I laugh at myself. I laugh at myself all the time. Mostly it's, I would say a little bit of it is self-deprecating, but it, I can laugh at myself, but I can laugh at Roy too. Especially if he starts laughing, he's just funny. He's just funny, and he doesn't even know it. And I know, I don't mean that in a bad way.
Earlier, Roy, when you said that you didn't used to lock your door, and then until Terry came along, I thought you locked your door because you had precious cargo then.
Right,
he locked me in.
Right, yeah.
No, to keep you safe. What happens when we, you were talking about people carrying around stress. Here's what happens. Let me tell you what happens.
Okay, come on.
When we experience some kind of traumatic experience, twice in one sentence, that's good, let go. So what happens is we take a deep breath in, like something was shocking. So it gets into our body. If we don't deal with it at that moment or very shortly after, it just becomes part of our belly. And then the next one on top and on top and on top. So when a rabbit gets chased by a predator, if it survives, it will go under a tree and shake, because that's pretty traumatic. Wow, you escaped that one, rabbit. Right. So they shake that trauma energy off. We don't shake. We just hold it in. We're like, oh no, I'm good. I'm okay. You need to shake more.
Wow.
I guess that once that settles in our belly, it probably just compounds. And that, I'm just thinking about like myself, because I'm the worst at that. You just suck it in, deal with it, move on. And, that could probably be a lot of cause for, weight gain as well.
That's where I was headed.
Oh, yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Well, it can be, right? Because then you're like, oh, I want to be safe. Like, then you might eat things that might not be the best, or you might not move as much, because you're like, then you just start getting not into your body. Then you're just in your head, and then your body is kind of just an appendage.
Yeah. Interesting.
I have rock hard abs, by the way, and I don't do, and that's just from laughter yoga. If you were here, I'd let you touch my abs.
Oh my gosh.
No, I mean, if you
have to show those off, you're gonna have to take a photo shoot, show those babies off. I know.
But
I was like, it's probably not that kind of show, so I won't do that.
It's show.
you know, when you do laugh like that, that full belly though, it works your core. I mean, you can feel it all the way down through. So I never really thought about that side benefit of it.
And cheeks, right? Anyone that's had a good belly laugh, your cheeks, you're cleaning your eyes because the tears are rolling down, your cheeks are hurting, right? Like, look at my skin. I'm 58. I look pretty good.
You look awesome. Oh my God, you do. I love that.
Yeah.
I want to make sure, I know we're kind of running up against time, but I want to make sure that we talk about your sprouts too.
Oh yes, please. I have my sprouter right here.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
So the sprout grower, go ahead.
No, I would, please go.
Oh, so the sprouts are just, so that's what I say, Cathy, Crawly, laughing bean queen. That's the bean queen part. Oh, that's right, that we're talking at the end. That's perfect. And so sprouting is really, sprouts are the original fast food. There's like the mung beans will germinate, especially in a warm climate, in overnight. You've probably experienced that. So when the root is the size of the bean, that's when they're ready. That's when they're most nutritious. So everything's there to grow that little sprout into a full-grown plant. So it just makes sense that it's more nutritious than the full-grown plant. And the mung beans are the ones that I have as my health plan, just because they are super fast. They're juicy, they're tasty. And so let me tell you some really, I'm going to sound so smart, but here's some really wonderful words about what sprouts are. Hydrating, alkalizing, regenerative, biogenic, and they contain up to 100 times more digestive enzymes than raw vegetables.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. So here's the thing about enzymes, and I think that's the really important piece, because we could take a multivitamin if we wanted, we could eat fiber, we could do those things. All those are all in your mung beans. Those are all in your sprouts, but the enzymes. So when we're born, we're given a certain amount of enzymes. When we're eating, if we're not eating salad or, sprouts, then our body's using our reserves. And as we start to age, we get digestive issues. We go to the doctor says, here's a prescription for enzyme pills. Instead of taking a pill, like growing your own, you save money, it's healthier. And these are so full of fiber that it's like you can eat as much as you want. Oh, you can't, because you actually fill up with nutrients.
No. Interesting.
Yeah, that's what, we've been we've been eating plant-based probably, how long, Roy?
Probably about 2 months, maybe.
No, it's been longer than that. Yeah, like probably since April.
Yeah, time has really gotten
I don't
away,
know. It's time's relative. But since April, as much as we can, at first we went full force, and then it was like, okay, well, we can't be that stringent. We got to add a little bit here and there. So, more Mediterranean, but a lot of plant-based as much as we can. And we notice a huge difference. So adding the sprouts, and when I started purchasing, groceries for that, for the plant-based eating, everything, the quinoa, all the lentils and all of everything was like sprouted. I'm like, okay, do I want sprouted? I don't know if I want sprouted. I didn't really know much about it, and I still kind of don't, but I'm just going with it. So the sprouts are that they add the enzymes and help with digestion. What else? Help me.
What else? So, sometimes people will eat beans and they're like, oh, am I going to get, bloated and flatulence and all of that? Like, I like beans, but I don't like the after effect. It's like, so what happens is seeds and beans have a coating on them called phytic acid, PHY. And it's that acid that's a protection for the seed or bean. So if it gets eaten by a bird or an animal, it passes right through, and then it can still grow. So if we eat those beans, if we cook those beans without soaking them and getting rid of that soak water or sprouting them, that coating is still on there. So the beans are good, but that acid, our body doesn't know what to do with it. So then it causes bloating or, flatulence, whatever, and challenges. So when you soak them, they're called oligosaccharides. Again, I sound so smart, don't I?
You do.
Those are the sugars. Those are the sugars that cause flatulence, the oligosaccharides. So when you sprout your seeds, there's fewer of those.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it opens it up. It really makes it sort of like the seed's like a little rock. It's like everything's, you know, jammed in there. It's, yeah. So then you sprout it and it just starts to come alive. And it's like, okay, now it's something.
Okay.
Interesting. All right,
I love
Cathy.
it.
Well, we were running way long, and
I'm sorry.
We could
no,
know.
not your fault. We're very interested. This is all really good information, and yeah, we appreciate you staying around a little bit longer and telling us all about it. It's been great. So before we do get away, a couple things. First off, what is a tool or a habit? Laughter. Well, let's put laughter aside because I know that that's something you do every day. But what is something that you do every day that adds a lot of value, either professionally or personally?
I start my day, I actually bookend my day with a little exercise routine, like just kind of some gentle stretches, some of the tapping every morning, some really gentle breaths. It only takes a 5-minute routine. And I do that as well before I go to bed.
Okay.
And those are two things that I do every day. And then drinking enough water.
Yeah.
And
I can't even tell you, I have to throw myself under the bus, say I'm the worst. I can make myself do it for a few days and then I just fall completely off the wagon on that. And it's so important. And for so many different things, it's not just for one thing, but for so many different things. So drink that water, start your day with a little exercise. Good advice. So tell us how, well, go through, I think, at least 3 or 4 different things, but talk about, you know, the things that you are into, how people can reach out and either purchase the product or get a hold of you if they want to partake, like in the laughter yoga, things like that.
Yeah, I would love for people to come and experience my Tuesday Laughter Club. It's 9:30 Eastern on Zoom at this time, and it's free. That's probably the best offering that I have at this time because it's so easy. And I am looking for people that are in assisted living or people that are like funders, because I am looking to do a pilot project. I would really, you know, about my mission, my upcoming mission that I'm going to do that I don't know how. I did contact the founder of Laughter Yoga and I said, is anybody in the world doing this? Is anybody in the world teaching people with special needs to lead laughter classes? And he said no. So I'll do it. In my spare time, I'll do that. I would like to end by just saying, I believe with my 3 branches, I have world hunger solved and I have world peace solved.
Awesome. We need to get on that train.
Yes,
for sure.
we do.
How can they reach out and get a hold of you?
Cathy's Club is my website for laughter. Cathy'sComposters.com is my worm website. And I'm all over social media, like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter.
Yeah. And we'll put all this in the show notes, but that's Cathy with a C.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, keep us informed. We want to know how this is going. The laughter part is just, everybody needs to partake in that. I don't think you really understand the power of it unless you do it a few times. And then, taking this to the different communities like the aging community and special needs, I think that's even a great mission. I think that's awesome.
Yes,
So,
good for you, Cathy.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And I'm coming back. I need another dose. Well, I always need one, but I'm coming back.
and that's what I was going to say is that you'd be surprised how this works distant, remotely through Zoom or
It's awesome.
you could do FaceTime. Anyway, I guess you could even just do the audio version. It's nicer to see people, but don't let the distance scare you off. You can really get a lot of benefit out of it virtually as well. Yeah. All right, then. That's going to do it for another episode of Feeding Fatty. Of course, I'm your host, Roy.
I'm Terry.
You can find us at www.feedingfatty.com. We're on all the major podcast platforms, iTunes, Stitcher, Google, Spotify. If we're not on one that you listen to, reach out. We'd be glad to add it. Also, we're on all the major social media platforms. Probably hang out mostly on Instagram. That's where you can find us if you want to reach out. We also will have a video of this when it episode when it goes live, you can find on YouTube as well. So till next time, take care of yourself and take care of your health.